But with other languages, it doesn't really work that well. So we have to. I think that is the reason why a lot of people don't understand, even our own people who lost the language. They don't understand it because we use English and it doesn't really bring out anything. What does it really mean? Because when you look at a dictionary in English, it has so many different meanings. And so that's why it's so hard. But with our native language, no matter what language, native tongue, our language is very descriptive. It really pinpoints what you're talking about. But with English, you're just sort of when you think about it, English is really a crazy language, because the way pronunciation, we borrow when we do writing. It's not really our way either when we write to teach. In the olden days, they never had no alphabets to go by before the white man came. So there was no way, the Creator never gave us no way of writing. The only thing He gave us was the symbols, what we see on nature. That's what we went by, what their meanings. And they set symbols for different things, and that's what we go by. And it's very descriptive, no matter what it is, no matter how you say it. But English, it isn't that way. The English bypasses a lot of I'll give you an example. If you start to borrow something like an A or E, to them it's an A. But when we use an E, that's an A for us. So that's what I mean. If you start writing in a writing system, well, you use an A, and it doesn't sound that way to us, because even in English, it doesn't sound really that good the way we are taught in schools how to make sounds in your alphabets. Like you pronounce, like we use O's too, but we use a lot of O's for ohms and oh. So a lot of times when you're looking at an English word, supposing now you say stop, where do you find the O on it? When you say stop, that's English. So stop would be probably, you wouldn't find an O on it, but it sounds funny, But you do when you find toe, T-O-E, you'll find an O in it. But stop, you don't find an O, the way it sounds. So that's what I was giving an example of. How, when you write, that's the reason why it's hard for us to learn in way of writing, because we never given to us in any language of writing system. A lot of it was given to us by symbols, what we see. And that's what we're going to use a lot of this. And that's why I got a lot of these pictures now, which an artist done for me. I give him a lot of the legends. And he uses, according to legends, and his imagination is what it is, creative, what they call imagination, what you're going to talk about. But a lot of things, that's the reason why we have what we call the greetings, thanking the Creator, just like what we started off. That's very important to us. Because that goes right back to creation. A lot of things we're going to be talking about, it's sort of like a grapevine. You have a real big grapevine, all of a sudden it branches out to so many different grapevines. And that's the way our culture works. It starts off from the origin of our culture, is from the creation. We always go back to creation. But it just gives you an idea of creation. Don't get that really in your head. They say it's something that they have something to believe on. I know sometimes when you really study, even myself when I study about creation, in the way they tell it, sometimes it makes me think, it sort of contradicts a lot of things the way they tell it. It contradicts the different things, and then the way we talk in, like somebody did the greetings a while ago. It doesn't match the creation. That's what I was trying to mention, because it mentions about the master, they call the master of life. So Guayati, so need. Duaro doka onan is it what through this Guayati. They the way in the dog, you want jadi. I hope you understand. You should. You should understand. And that's what a lot of white man says. You should be able to understand. You're an Indian. And that's what the way they class us today. You say if you're not, you don't understand your language anymore. You don't understand your culture. You're just like one of us now. That's why they're trying to assimilate us. Is because now, that's what they're talking about now. You're no Indian anymore. You just use that word of Indian now. You're not an Indian anymore because you don't even have an Indian name. So this is what, there's a lot of points we can do to talk about it. And this is what's going to go back into a lot of creation. So I'll probably start off with creation. That's where I always get mixed up, you know. And if I follow creation, I kind of get off to a wrong track. But they say that creation only tells you so something to go by, you know, the symbol of how they think this is what happened. But nobody really knows what happened because nobody exists to tell us what did really happen. Probably maybe the Creator, only the one that can tell us. But anyways, we always got something to go on. It's going back to creation. And it's true. And there's a lot of, all these days we're going to be on the workshop, we're going to be talking about how it branches. Everything goes back in our culture, goes back right up to the creation. It broadens everything back. Even the legend of the peacemaker, it goes back to creation again. Because the way everything was made, it always went by woman. That's why we call Huanchate. It means that's our Mother Earth because it started from a woman first. And that means that the woman came flying down to earth. So this is what starts from the beginning of creation. Long time ago, they used to say, now, don't get mixed up what I'm telling you, because there's many different versions. There's Seneca version, Mohawk version, Onondaga version, Cayuga version about creation myth. And they all differ a little bit, but it means the same thing. So we can't say, I can't say I'm right, and another person can't say they're right, but this is something we go by. We can't say, because nobody knows what is right and what is, you know, who's right. So I can't say what you hear from me, but the idea is to put things together. That is the thing about our culture. So we have something to go on, creation. Now they say at that time, at the creation, the time of creation, it goes back. Some tell it different, and some will talk about the sky world. We talk about the sky world. That was before there was anybody here on earth at that time. So when it started, they used to say that there were people living up there, up in the original world. And that's what they call. That's where the original things, that's everlasting up there. It means people that lived up there, they didn't know what death was. They didn't know what sickness was, because that's an ever-going thing. That's why they call it So there were people who lived there. And there were children, also adults, old people, all kinds of people that lived up there. All the good people. There was no evil at that time. You could never find nothing about evil at that place up there. So when that time came, there was a time came when they used to say that as I say, they never ever knew anything about sickness up there or death. Nobody ever knew anybody being sick there because, you know, that's something that has never been thought of, the people that live there. But anyway, there's time came when this woman, she was, there's two versions of that. Sometimes it confuses me. But I will use mostly what I know, what I've heard from the old people that had talked about it when I was a kid. I always heard about that too when I was a kid. This little guy, I listened. And that's the main thing in our culture, is listening. That's the main thing that we have in our culture, is to listen. And you accumulate all these things that you've listened over the years. So when you listen well, then that means that, you know, you have everything that is told to you. It's just like a recorder. You're recording it in your head, everything what has been said, and you can almost tell it the same thing. So the time came when this woman was, they say that this woman become pregnant. And she had wanted to get medicine from this tree up in the original world, they call it. There was a big tree there, and this is where it differs sometimes. I think some people sort of get into mixed up with European culture. Some people get mixed up with the Bible, the way they tell it. I know some people say there's a big apple tree, a big fruit tree, and maybe it's true with other cultures, but not with our culture. The way I heard it, they say that this great tree was a great pine. A great pine stood up there, and that was the center part of is this great pine. So when this woman she knew she was, you know, she was pregnant. So she went to look for medicine, and she told her husband too to help her to look for medicine, because she craved for many different things. That's the way usually it happens. It's a customary for a pregnant woman. She becomes to you know, wants to eat different things, you know, and so that's what it was. That's what she wanted. So her husband, they say her husband sometimes. That's something I don't know. I can never really pinpoint that. It's just what they call yaga to the awal. You know, yaga is something being told over and over and over. So this tree that grew up there, and that's where she went, is well, no, from the beginning, this man, her husband, he was the one that used to get the medicine for her, get the roots. So he kept digging, and after a while, came that he began to realize that as he got digging for the roots from the tree to get medicine, and he can realize that he began to see that it went right through the hole, started to make a hole. So he looked down and see there's something at the bottom. So he feared that he had done something because of the woman and what she wanted. So he tried to satisfy her what she wanted, but she wasn't satisfied. She wanted to keep on going and get that medicine from there. So one day she went on her own. Or they are told us, you got them, they got them, they're tigers, you know, you got them. She was looking in that hole now. She stooped down more, and all of a sudden, this is where a lot of people often say, they don't know whether he had pushed her, somebody pushed her, or what. But nobody never know. Didn't know what happened. Or she slipped, or lost her balance, and she went over. She went down the hole. And here she went. And that is what shows the Giga. That's what I was talking about. And when I had the artist to do it, he done it in this way, which I was dissatisfied about, because the way I knew it was the great pine. So there she was digging in, and then all she went, this is where it was, where she dug, where he dug, I mean, and that's where she went down. So she was going down. They said there was nothing but water underneath. But this is where it always confuses me about. To the other legends, that's why I say sometimes I put all these legends together. There's about 3 or 4 different legends about creation myth. And sometimes they contradict. And I hate to say that too much about creation myth, because I get confused myself. The reason why I get confused is because it says that all these animals, the turtles and all these are already here. Well, who made them then? When they say the woman came flying, and all these ducks, all the flying animals, they formed like a blanket when they saw this woman coming. So they all formed like a blanket, and that's where she laid on these birds, the ducks and geese. Then they say the loom was the one. No, the niece said, we're not going to loom. I'm trying to ask them. I don't know. I don't know what they call that, but it's a loom. And he was the one that asked the turtle, would you mind if we would lay her on your, would you volunteer to have the big turtle, so that she would lay on the turtle? So he says yes, he would. Now I know what beaver, muskrat, all the otters that could dive, you know, way into the water, into the sea. There was no earth, nowhere. There was no land, nothing. The beaver said, I will go down and look for earth, for that woman, to place on the turtle's back so that the woman can land there, and maybe it's up to her what she can do. So then the beaver went down, and it wasn't long, his body floated, and he was carrying nothing. And then next time was the otter this time. The otter says, I'll volunteer. So the otter, he went down. He dived. Everybody looked. Come back up, his body floated, nothing. So it wasn't long, and then see, you can see all the different animals. There's the beaver. But the muskrat says, it'll be my turn this time. See if I can do it. I know again. Gisak. So muskrat, he went down, and it wasn't long till he come back up, and he was dead too. But anyway, they found his claw, he had some dirt, and in his mouth he had some dirt. So they took that dirt and they placed it on the turtle, and that's where the woman landed on the back here. And then it had all the dirt, and they started to spread it all around. And then when the woman landed on there, she's got little roots that she brought too when she came down. The tree itself, the roots, that's what came down onto earth, and that's what she planted in the middle of the turtle. That's what our great tree of peace knows today. That's the reason why I say it doesn't match up with the story. Some people say, see, it's all apple. They say it's a great apple tree, but that's, as far as I know, that's a European culture, where they say Adam and Eve when they ate the apple. And that's why we got the apple here. So we can, sometimes they said you apple because we are Adam and Eve. But people, if you listen to that, you can get confused. What are you then? Did you come from overseas or somewhere? That's the way you get confused if you follow some of these legends. That's why I say don't get confused. A lot of people I've heard say we come from Adam, family of Adam and Eve, and then again some say we come from the family of Noah, but that's not true either. Because Noah, but it's not. I didn't come from Noah's family. But there's a lot of these legends. We could get confused, and we might say, well, we might be just the same as white men, and so why we'd be so different. But it shows you that we are different when you listen to all these legends. And the reason why is we don't use common sense to think about it. We listen to somebody else. That's why we don't understand. Many people don't use common sense. But this is what happened. The big turtle, he will uphold a woman. He will be the upholder. That's our earth now. That's why the Indians, they say a long time ago, not because they know that it was on the turtle's back. And that's the first time, how many moons? There's 13 squares on his back. That means 13 moons in our way, in our culture. And that's the big snappers. If you ever look at it, there are 13 squares. And that means it has 13 moons. Only Indian people. Even if you look at a calendar, there are 13 moons in the whole year round. So it sort of matches sometimes with our culture. As what we see here is, as I say, is imagination of the upper world and down here. While I'm still talking about this woman here. She brought all the medicine, everything, and this is what our great tree of peace, it planted right in the middle of the turtle back. Beaver, all different kinds of animals. But then sometimes it says different after as the story goes on. So what happened from the first one? Who made the first one? So that's why I say it contradicts sometimes. if you don't watch how you talk, and it'll contradict what you're talking about when you're trying to teach. That's why I always like to, explain as I go along, because I don't want anybody to get confused. But you know that what I'm saying, ratilio, ne ratitero, ne karihuni onen, ne yakongue ne juterato, muncha. Ne hiatakwe ne yugi ne muncha, hichi yakon, ne juterato. Ne wa muncha ke. Ondo ne yakon ha kwe kuma ayanto. Ne karihuni ne enduaro ni. That's Mother Earth. That's why we call it Mother Earth, because it was the woman who came first, and she planted everything. After. And that's why we went by clans. We have clans, all different clans. It's because it started to work with the animals according to creation. All the different kinds of waterfalls which help for that woman to survive. At that time, when the time came at birth, and this woman, she gave birth to a baby girl, and the baby girl was born. So when the baby girl was born, and then this woman had a daughter then, and then he lived so long until the girl kind of grow fast. All these years she kind of grown fast from the time of the baby, and she was really she was kind of smart, wise, and the child grew awful fast. So when she got to be a big child, and the olden days, the way they used to do it, I don't know, but as far as I've heard, what they call the Yenodadon. I think that's what they call it. They call it the what is it? No. Hidden under the husk. That's what they used to do. A young girl, she'll never see nobody at a certain length of time when she's growing up. At that time, they say that a young girl used to never be able to see anybody when they're young, especially before a certain stage when she's become almost to her womanhood. She's not supposed to see anybody. Become very sacred for that time for anybody to see her, even for a man. So that's the reason why they never had no relationship with a man when they're young. A young girl or a young man never was able to walk out and go look for girls, or a woman would never go look for boys. They wouldn't have that kind of a freedom until a certain time when they got older. So the two ladies, the elder ladies, are the ones that always makes the marriage. They come together, say, you marry my daughter, or you marry my son. So the two ladies they always bring the basket. And so that was the custom at that time. So that was the reason why she was hidden under the husk for so long, this young girl. But it came a time that when she grew up, that was this lady right here. That was the old lady, but this is the young girl. They got in who knew na. When they on the here no not ne. When she become a young girl, and something happened at that time. That there was a man that come to visit her. She was an unknown somebody that came, and they don't know who it is. He came and he come to visit. He come to visit this girl. So he put an arrow across. He brought two arrows. One was blunt and one was sharp. So what happened was, after a length of time, then this girl become pregnant. Then her mother began to wonder what happened. But a time came when she gave birth, even before birth. She knew that one nakarate kikane, so you got away here nakarate kikane niksa. Now, this is what he done, but they don't know who he is. So then, during the time when she noticed, you know, she was big. So she heard these two arguing. She heard the two guys. She knew it must be, you know, she's big. She knew there was going to be something happen, but she didn't know that she was going to give, you know, a twin. But one day she could hear them arguing. I guess when they're just about ready to give birth, she heard them arguing. Says, "You go this way, and I go this way." He said, "Oh, how young don't they?" They start arguing. These two twins, while they're still inside. She found out that it must be twins because it seemed like there were two people talking inside of her. He says, "You go this way and I go this way." So they kept arguing. No, he says, "We go this way and you go this way." So it didn't seem to convince the other guy to go this other way. And she heard this guy says, "We go this way to the right way, that we should be born." No, this guy says, "I see a light over here, it's closer than to go this way." So when he saw the light, he insisted that he's going to go that way. So now ni go that ni go ni sa ga God in haya ka ta ne se ni ga ne ka ye ni go ro da mo ha ni na God in ga ka the natural way of birth to ni God in ga ka. So that's go ha who's going on ne was ni okay. They start arguing. Who's going to go first? Who's going to take the lead? Now you take the lead. No, you take the lead. Now you take the lead, you take the lead. No, I don't want you take the lead. So after a while, they will have to go in the other guy. So they went. On the day, come on. This other guy went this way, this other guy went this way. So then, this other guy, he was born first. They call it the right-handed twin. The right-handed twin. He was born. And so the grandmother, the one that first came here, she cleaned him up and everything, and she laid him there by the mother, and pretty soon, another one. He came under her armpit. That's the one that was arguing. He says, "I see a light." That's where he came out. So he killed his mother. That was this. He killed his mother because he came on. It wasn't the right way of birth, so he came out this way. And so that's why they call him the Flint. And the water Or there's a lot of names you can use. There's a lot of names you can use. Means that it's it's not right. Left-handed twin. So then I went I don't have a left-handed twin. One and say she saw this, and they were both born then. But this left-handed twin, he killed his mother. Well, could not on the grandmother, because she blamed it on the guy that come the right way. She favored right away. He done right because he come out this other way. But she blamed this other guy, the right-handed twin, the one that came out the way, not the right way at first. And the way he was born, they say he was all covered with just like flint, That's why they call him Flint. He was warty. Giga. He's the warty one. He had a skin like the one that the right-handed twin was. He had the right kind of a skin the way a man being should be, a human being. But this other, the warty, he had a rough skin, just like scales of flint or something. That's why they call him Flint. And this other name, they call him Sapling, the right-handed twin. So they call him the sapling. He's the good-minded twin. So the grandmother, she disliked the right-handed twin. So she took that boy and she cast him away. She kept the flint. So she thought she killed him, the right-handed twin. And she looked after the Flint too, very good. She really looked after him, loved him, gave him all kinds of love. But this boy, he got thrown away as being a baby, way out in the woods. And so they thought, well, I guess they killed him. The grandmother thought, well, she got rid of him. She didn't, he would never ever come back. How's he going to help himself? He's a baby. So I guess something happened. There's something there that, I guess the good thing, which is good too and powerful, but something happened that he survived. The right-handed twin, he survived. And I guess he grew very fast too, the boy. But until he was a man, he became a man. And one of these days he came back to the lodge where the grandmother and the wardy lived. And she was mad because she blamed the right-handed twin for killing their mother. He was always the one that got the blame. So the grandmother always took the wardy all the time. She just got to want to take laksa. You couldn't want to look forward to, because she thought he was always right, whatever he said. He was always demanding. But the good twin, she thought that he was always wrong. So the grandmother, he was always, she always thought that he didn't know what he was talking about. But he come quite frequently to visit them, his mother, his grandmother, and the Flint, his brother. But every time he came back to visit, they always argued, and she always took part, the Flint. She always took his part. Every time they came together, she always took his part. So it went on, and as him being a grown man now, he started to work what things he could do to create different things. Now, to myself, what I must say, that's why I say we have to analyze these things as you hear different things. As I was talking about creation, where did they come from? When I try to analyze these things, where did the animals come from? Because they were here when she came here. And then when I put the things together here, when the right-handed twins start to work, and he created, and then it says also again, he created all kinds of animals too. And he made molds from earth. He created animals, all kinds. All the good things that he made. And the left-handed twin, he watched his brother. And he followed his brother around, no matter where he went. That's our Creator, the right-handed twin. He roamed all over the earth, all over the turtle's back. He roamed all over. He created many things. And the evil spirit, he was always, we call it the evil spirit, he's the wardy. And he goes raksa. Means he hasn't got the right mind. He has a crooked mind. So he always followed his brothers around, his brother around, see what he does, and he always wanted to do that. So when the time came, he created all kinds of animals, and he was able to bring alive all these animals. And so when he saw these animals, the left-handed twin, he started making animals too. He made those animals that would eat the animals that the good twin made. So everything what he made that would destroy mankind or destroy whatever the creation, whatever the Creator created. He put all kinds of things on earth. He made creeks, made water that would flow so that the people would travel. That was the reason why he made all these creeks and rivers, so that man can travel back and forth on this land. Matter he can go anywhere with a canoe. So that's why he was given a canoe. The Indian, the native person, so he could travel all over this land. And that's the reason why I got rivers and streams and everything. It wasn't only to survive from drinking the water, but it meant also to give a man power and strength, and also part of travel, transportation. And he also made this land so beautiful. And when the Creator made all these things, and then the evil one, this time, we call the evil one, the flint. All these waters where there is, the Creator put all kinds of animals, fish for us to eat. That's our sustenance. He put everything in the water too that were poisonous, that would kill and harm that would eat what the fish, and also it would kill man if he ever ate those things. And even the water, where he made it for transportation for man, that a man can travel. He even put big boulders in there to block the passage, so that would destroy mankind too. And he also made what they call a whirlpool in the water. If you ever got in there, it would he made it just the opposite. When the Creator made wind for us to breathe, so it means that he made that for our own benefit, so we can breathe, and also for nature to grow. That was the purpose. But then he made the just the same as water. He made the what they call a tornado. And so he made, there's always two things identical. All the things that were made. As I started off with animals, he made animals, and many different things he made, it was just the opposite. He done everything the opposite. And so that's the way things happen. Means that there's a lot of things that we have on earth, what we can eat, edible wild plants, all kinds of things that we could eat. All these things, you know. Something that you can eat, that you can go in the bush and get it. Like mushrooms and morels and everything. So now you know, if you go and get mushrooms, even just mushrooms, well, if you didn't pick the right one, well, they're poison too. So everything was just the opposite. He made the good things for us to eat, and they're very identical. If you didn't know it, how to identify it, you were picking up the wrong one. So it would destroy you. And that's what happened. Everything is, even in medicine. He made medicine, all kinds for to help the people that's going to live. That's part of survival, what he gave us, medicine. For if a time came that anybody become ill, you can use that medicine. He made trees, all the trees, they have names for them. Everything he made on earth, they had names for it. And then there's other trees, which keeps us warm, and also he gave us fire. So he gave us fire. The Creator gave us fire for us to use. It's very beneficiary to us. It'll benefit mankind to have fire. And the fire is one of the greatest things in our culture. You always want to remember that. That's one of the greatest things. What's based on our culture is fire. That's what keeps things going. The fire is warm, keeps you warm and very comfortable. That's the way culture is, that we are given a culture. He gave us a fire. That's what keeps us warm. Now you got this taquero, no, you got this taquero. They got no wage, no dage, go here, got this taquero, you got this taquero. Ya que no chage, who not this taquero. Wish no chage to tira. One what it is tayas. That's where it originated too. Also from a Virgin Mother. They call it Great Council Fire of the Five Nations. That was very important. Handsome Lake Fire, no. How we conduct our lives. That's one of the things that he gave us. Fire. And an ever-living thing. Yung Kiawi in there, fire. Each one of the families got fire. That's why they call it matrilineal family bloodline. But it is tagay. The longhouse of one family, they got fire too. Even the grandmothers, they got fire too. Warriors, they got fire too. The chiefs has got fire too. We got fire for everything. Even within our own lives. So He gave us a light, He gave us a fire. That's why our body is warm. They got He gave us a light, and also He gave us a fire to keep us warm. That's why our blood is warm so as we can live. So everything is what He has given us. There's all kinds of medicine that He used, He planted for us to use. He also made good medicine, but the evil one. That's what's ruining us all over. It seems like the good medicine, it never exists, but the bad medicine, He keeps on going. And that's practiced pretty well all over today. And a lot of good things, what we would like to learn, it's just like from the creation. If you think about the creation, how hard it is. Because if you learn something good, it's hard for you to remember. And it's also hard to learn something that's good and to keep it in your head. But if you learn something bad, it only takes once for you to learn. If you learn a bad word in Mohawk, you'd never forget. You know? If I teach you a bad word, boy, I'd no more to get finished. You'd be, maybe I'd see you again. You'd remember that what I told you. But any good words in Mohawk, you wouldn't never remember. That's why it's so hard, because that's the way the creation started. It was hard. All the good things is weak, and all the bad things are pretty strong. But the good things is everlasting, which the things that originate all of a sudden somewhere, it doesn't last that long. It just only lasts for so long, and it disappears. So that's the difference. And then when you think about it today, the way we live in this world, as according to creation, that's the way it is we live in today. We live in, just like you'd say, two worlds. And that's the way people are too. They're going to want her, that's hot still on there. His brother, his twin brother, he's pretty strong too. He knows that. But still, the good twin, he has more power in some cases. But that's the way we live in today. It's a balance in everything. The people that live on earth, and the Creator began to see that the people who live on earth is beginning to believe in a lot of things in the family. Like the people that He has created, He began to see that, people are going the other way too. There's getting to be a majority of the people favoring the left-handed twin. So there was a time, they say that, the way I was told, they say that it goes back into creation. He could see that people were going the other way. So the only hope that the Creator has he can see now that evil was pretty strong. It's getting the best of the people now. Because there were many things were practiced. Witchcraft, bad medicine, and people were very evil. So he knew that all the creation that he had made, everything went the other way. So he says, that's the Creator. He's going to send another message down to the earth so the people will hear. But the evil says again, yes, maybe you can do that, but I still will have control. And he says, all those children that are newly born is mine. That's what the Creator says. And also the evil says, yes, it might be a certain age, but they become mine after. As soon as they are able to talk, then I can take control. The reason is because as soon as they are able to talk and also walk, whenever they pick up something, they can hit something to the mother, then that's my work. Or she can talk back, and that's my work. And so that's the way it is now today. If you're talking back to your mother, then that's what's telling you to be the evil. So you say these things to your mother, your father. And that's what originated, was because of the wardy. He's so powerful. He's sitting behind you, telling you what to say. And that's what happens to every people there is, even not only kids, but it's like that with mankind all over the world. Adults, even older people. They say, I only speak once. People will do what I command. But the Creator, He'll speak many times over and over. We still don't do it. And that's because He is so strong. Everything just seems to go, and He'll appear as soon as you mention about Him. He'll appear so quick. They say that just as fast as you can wink, that evil can come to you just that quick. Now we'll go back to talk about creation still. I'm trying to explain as I go along. Sometimes I get ahead of myself a little bit, but the reason is because I want to expand a little more. Now when I go back to when He was creating people, the left-handed twin, they call a flint. He saw what the Creator was doing. He was making people. He was making a man and a woman. He was bringing it from the earth. He was forming. He made mankind now. So when He made mankind, and the left-handed twin, he kept watching his brother what he was doing. So then he goes to his place too, where he had a little place where he makes different things too. So he started gathering all this earth, putting it together, this clay. And the Creator had enough power that he couldn't copy off what he had seen make. So he wasn't satisfied. What he saw, he says, it doesn't look like that, like what my brother made. So something must have went wrong. Well, here, look at the flint. He says, well, if you go somewhere else, I'm not satisfied. Well, I said, you help people. You help people, you amuse people. Monkey. So then he went on, and he was he was always trying to outdo his brother. So one day he went by the seashore. a jack that he can know your heart. What about Gachiga? The foam, all from the Wakondero, look at one place, you know, the foam of the sea, the water. He saw all these big foam. Oh, that Gachiga. He went in the water and he got all that foam, and then he started making human, mankind, a woman and a man. This one in your heart. What can I say? So he saw this white, the man was then white man and also a white woman laying. Well, he went on the hood and they how come they're not alive, just laying there? So he says, oh, he says, why don't you bring them alive? So he says, maybe he says, he's tried to make excuses, but he knew that the Creator was the one that was, you know, there must be something wrong there. He's holding back all the time, spoiling his creation. I guess we'll start back where we left off. And there's so much we could talk about. But as I was saying earlier, we must be careful that we don't get confused in a lot of ways, because we can get really confused in mixing two cultures, European culture and also our own culture. And I think that's why people are so confused today, especially the ones that don't understand the native language. They get more confused because they don't understand anything about their own language, never even been told about anything about in their own language, whether it's Mohawk, Cayuga, Onondaga, Seneca, and which I must say that we must really be strong to be able to preserve our culture. And that's the only way we can save it, is by learning our own native tongue. And that's what the old people often say in many different ways. That's what's based on. The basics of our culture is your native language. Your native language is what tells you something about your culture. And so we start back where I left off, as I was saying about when the Flint saw that what the Creator, or the right-handed twin, the so-called, was making from, and also what they would sort of watch one another, how they were, I guess what they call copying what the Flint was copying from the Good Spirit. So when he saw that he was making this, he made the person, he thought he made it better. That's why he made it white, like the foam, you know. He made the woman and also made the man. So he was having a hard time to bring them alive, because the reason was because he's trying to do something better. His brother is trying to outdo his brother. So that's the reason why the Creator had a lot of power, the right-handed twin, they call it. That he had so much power that he could not do to copy off what he wanted to do. He was only limited to go so far. So when the time came when he was trying to bring this alive, he was asking his brother, he says, how come those two are laying here and they're not alive? So the Flint, he made excuses why he wasn't bringing them alive. They don't come alive. So then the Flint thought up something so quick, and he asked his brother, he says, since he failed, he admitted now that he failed. He tried many different times. So his brother asked the right-handed twin, he says, if you help me, he says, to bring that alive, that white person, then it will be, you will own half of it. Half of that person, of that white person, you own half of it. And so he kind of tricked his brother. So his brother says, very well, he says, I'll do that. So he kneeled over where the woman was laying, also the white man. So he started putting his breath into it. Just when he put his breath into it, here comes the woman, you know, pops up. Also the man, he put the breath in him, he pops up too and stands there. And they used to say, in some of the stories that I heard, right away those couples start looking around all over, so surprised what they see. That's what they used to say. He had a different way of thinking, the white man. He really, right away, was so surprised where he was. So then, when he brought him alive and he was satisfied, he already won his brother again. So he was so proud that these two, he still had that in his mind, that he made those people whiter than the one he made, his brother. So that's the reason why he was proud, because he knew that he outdid his brother. He made a white person where he made the brown person out of mud or out of clay. So they used to say too, what the story I used to hear, as I say, I heard many different stories. See, when he brought them alive, these two whites, so again the evil spirits is what we call Flint, is what we call, that's this guy here. Wardy too sometimes they call him. He's got lots of names. He's got Nigonraxel, he's got the bad mind, evil mind. So he told him, he says, why not let's see who's the smartest, these people that we have created, mankind. The couple here, made out of clay, and also these couple here are made of out of foam. Right away, his brother knew again what to do. So the Creator, he says, he says, what shall we do? So the Creator, he brings a couple of sticks, a bunch of sticks that he got, one on each hand. Quite a few of these sticks that he broke up, put on his hand. He gave this bunch to this couple over here, and they say they sat on a log. So the two couples sat over here, the other two sat here. So he gave them this other one too. So he told them, he says, Creator, he says, whatever you want to do with it, he says, we'll see what you can do with it. So then they walked away, both of them. The left-handed twin and the right-handed twin, they walked away. Oh, for a while, then they come back. And the one that was made out of clay, they're still sitting there with their heads hanging down like that, and he still got that bunch of sticks in his hand. And same way with the woman too, she's still sitting there. And these white people sitting over here, they're already crawling on the ground, putting sticks here and there between them. They draw a line between them already. And they say that, you know, they knew what to do with it already. Mira gari hune ne tuni chi to wawi so boya I so. Ne ko honwe ka ni gunra ne to wawi. Ta no gi ya ki tuni o to ni ore ne chi ni o ne to wawi ne. Na ra ge ne na ho ne kari wax ne chi ni ga ne to ko to ni ani wa ne. Ya ne de hat ni ko ni ne ko ne to wawi ne na ho ne wa hit. They used to say that you know, the Flint, he made the people with all of the wise ways of making or doing things in the opposite. Something is, they're smarter in different things. But the Indian, he's smart in ways, but he's not that smart in to do things like anything in evil. But the white man, I guess what you would call, he was given all kinds. And when we compare these creation myths of today and going back to creation, we follow these up. What is it like? It's true. And they used to often say too that when the white man came over here, he was already instructed. So the net ni yochi to what ni kung roni ne be the ni kung rio ne to na hae ji na ra wa ha go ni ga to wa la wa gi no yin kwat kwe no te kwat hung. That was the reason why the white man was able to come here, because he was able to land in this country, in this island of ours. And it's because it was through the evil spirit that they were able to come in this country. And it seems to me like today, the way we live, all the thinking is very different. Even in all the years that I have spent in a university, I've been in with the kids at the university, all the white and also the native kids that I have taught. And you'll see a lot of dropouts in universities. And I think you'll find more dropouts than graduates. That's because that I try to balance these things. He didn't give it to us for education, the Creator. He gave the white man that kind of an education. But the Indian, he gave him different kind of education. So that's why it differs a lot in the way, and that shows you that what I just mentioned, that there's so many native dropouts because they're, and then another thing too, the white man, he's only given you so much education. You'll never go over him. He's only going to get you an education just enough just to be equal, a little lower than him. But you'll never get on top of him. And that's the way it is today. And how many of these graduates that go to universities and colleges that is able to work in a white man's world? We compare that. Not very many. They have that kind of an education, but they can't be hired in a white community. Take teachers now, you know, they get qualifications, they get all kinds of BAs, but they don't get a job in a white community. They always find a job where the Indians are. They always come back to the Indians for a job. So that's why they say if there's no Indians, then you wouldn't have a job. See, that's why I try to compare these things. It's because the way I see things, I use my own way of thinking. That's the reason why. And it seems like it is true that what we go back to creation, the way the Creator gave us a peace of mind. It's nothing but nature is what we are given. So now, as I was saying, the difference between how the Creator, what we call the Creator, Singwayatis. The wardi, the flank, he's the left-hand twin. So if you're a twin, if you're a left-handed twin, I'm not saying that you're bad. I mean, you're evil. But that's the way it works according to creation, going back about that time. But there's so many things when we look at a creation now, from the start, how he made people, how he made man, and everything was always the opposite. And the other way was more powerful. And that's the way we live in today. And as I was saying earlier, that the Creator, he says, I will be able to regain and get all my people back that I have created. So, wahi kānu watu mani kong lakani ne yate hani kong rio ne wahakweni wahont hete ne rahnara. Wahara wahi, that's it'll be half of yours, the white people. Ne aga kari honi jit kune ndoha. Ne kari honi aga sumwa yatis, wahumatan yete, rondo Christ. Kanondo to honchadi, don't tati nakare, nati nara. Tahumayo na ho, dan tawis takon gichi, sadesono ni ho watig. That's the reason why he sent the Creator, he sent what you so-called Christ over there in the great salt waters for those white people, because he owned half of those people. He gave them a way of belief. What their belief will be. He gave us ours too. So now people get confused and they say, well, what is it? We abandon those things, we go to the white man's way, and that's not ours. Even myself, a lot of people ask me, as a traditional person, I go to Longhouse. I'm a Longhouse person. That's how I come to know things that I do know. Because I grew up in a Longhouse community. My grandfather was a Longhouse person, my father was a Longhouse person, but my grandmother was a Christian person. I could never figure her out. Even my dad and my grandmother always had an argument because she was part Christian and my father wasn't. But my father was also Christian when he was a kid. But when he got older, he went back to the old way. And that's where I learned on my mother's side, on the Cayuga mother. So that's how I become a Cayuga myself. Jinio, ni sungwawi ni kiwaya this now then you go takon. Kwe ko ne ga to ka wo jin hun cha. He gave us a way of belief. Ne gari huni ne onu sunda wat ta sama gi ya pon kwe. Kwe ko ya hawi na ho then you ya. Wo no ka ho. Kwe ko ki. And now that's why we follow all the clans, is because there are animals, and also the women. We follow the even in the league, it always talks about women. Women are always the leaders in Iroquois culture. That's the reason why, because the woman is the first in this land, and that's because she was closer to nature and then man, because there is what happened when from the time of creation. There's two ways too. Sometimes I get confused about. Sometimes they say this is the daughter, and this is the grandmother here, the original one, because that was her daughter who bare two twins. So now, they were arguing all the time. They argued right from the time of birth, before birth, which side they're going to go. That's what I started off. And they kept arguing all the time, who had more power and all this. At that time, they didn't know about people dying or sickness, because the original world is up there. It always goes on living. But when people are born on earth, we only come to visit on earth. The Creator gave us a soul that only visit the earth for a while, and we're gone again. And that's the way individuals are brought in this world. We all have what we call a gifted talent. From the time you're a child, you don't know what you're gifted for. You don't know what your hands can do, but the Creator sent you here for something. Every person that is born in this world, when they're small, they come here for something. But we always use the white man's word. It says, you're stupid, you don't know nothing, you're dumb. That's no such word as that, because, or somebody to be ugly. Because when he designed, that's one of the one of the words that we often use. You're ugly and she's ugly and he's ugly, you know. But there's no word in our cultures to say that you're ugly, because if you're talking about you're criticizing somebody, you might as well be criticizing the Creator, because He made us. He's the one that did it, the way we look, the Creator. And that's the reason why. If we're going to criticize somebody, we might well be criticizing the Creator. And His heart is going to be sad because we're criticizing somebody. You think they're ugly. Because if we all looked alike, we wouldn't know one another, you know. If you were old enough, if you were married, and you wouldn't know which is your wife, because all the women will look alike. You might be taking home the wrong woman, you know? Same way with men. Women wouldn't know which is their men. They'd be taking the wrong men, sleeping with them. So it all means everything. I mean, you know, when you consider about it, that's why I say there's always something about us people on earth, the way the creation, when you put everything together. A lot of people say, well, you know, you're not worth nothing, you don't know nothing. You know. Well, we can't all be, you know, we can all be wise. That's the reason why even in a white man's world, that's the same thing. We have all kinds of people in the white man's world. We have engineers, and we have anthropologists, all kinds of trades in the white man's world. So we have too. The only thing we have is in our cultures, so you were a singer, so then another means you're a great feather dance singer. You know how to dance. The Creator gave you that too. And He gave you also a good speaker. You become a good speaker. The Creator also gave you that kind of a talent. That's why I say when you're a child, you come in this world, you're something. You don't come here for nothing. We all come here on a mission. We all have different talents what the Creator gave us. When we come in this world, we are all to help one another. There's things that we can help people. Another person maybe don't have that much. We can contribute so much of knowledge to that person. If we were all knowledgeable, then we wouldn't have to tell anybody. You know? And same way, if we were all educators, if we all were all educated, we wouldn't have to educate anybody. So that's why we have these people. People can teach, some people can't, and because that's the kind of trade we got. The Creator, He gave us a different way. That's something about our nature. He gave us different things. But the white man, he's given different things. You can see that it's true what from the creation. He already draw the line, as I was saying. The white man, the white couple here, the Indians still don't know what to do with it. And that's what we are today. We still don't know what to do with those. But the white man, he's already saying, this is your property, and this is mine. Keep off my property. You know. But the only thing he hasn't done yet is he hasn't done is says, this is my air, I breathe, and this is yours. You know. He can't do that. So there's different things how you would look at, you know, in about our own culture, because everything is free. They shall roam the earth, all kinds of animals. They can go wherever they please. They say when the Creator, he made eel, that's the right-handed twin. When the Creator made eel, and the eagle made snakes. And he made all the edible what they call sustenance. We can call that the sustenance of all different animals we can eat. So we got a deer. Now the evil spirit, he made animals that will eat the deer. And so there's always a competition. And see, when he brought people on this world, that's what I was saying earlier. That's where it starts. From the children, when they are ready to talk, they go against their mother. They'll talk back to their mother. Just because that evil is what's telling you. Says, you say this to your mother. You say this. You hit your mother too. That's all the work of evil. So we have to really fight pretty hard. When you go back to creation, everything is there. We can't go around it. And that's why the old people often go back to creation, is to make you think. That's the reason why they use creation. It's just for to think. Now, when I was mentioning earlier when we started this, greeting is one of the most, what they call the culture values that we have in our culture, is appreciation and respect. That's one of the most that we have in our culture. That's our appreciation of one another. You see somebody on the road, say, and this is what appreciation. You have sympathy with the person too. You have to sympathize with the person if they're sick. And this is the reason, because we appreciate one another. Through the Creator, that's the way He wants us, is to sympathize with one another. And He gave us love. That's the main thing on earth, is what He gave us is love. To love one another. That's why it's a respect. If you don't respect within yourself, you have no respect with anybody else. Or you don't have respect with nature or nothing. Because you lost your own respect, with your own self, your own body, your own thinking, everything. Everything goes with it. So that's where it's very important to know about creation. There's so many things that ties in our culture. That's why I was saying it's like a grapevine. We follow all these roots, and then we go right back up to the creation. Everything. Somebody gave greetings when they started. That's where the creation started again. Because it's almost the same thing as creation, like the prophet. The peacemaker, we have gratitude. We can be grateful to what is on earth. So that's what it really means of creation. Now, going back to this one here, you might wonder what this is. I'd like to mention about it. It's eso na ho, ne Jakobstan hagi ne. That's his grandmother, the Flint, and also the good spirit, the right-handed twin. That's the grandmother. Ne the right-handed twin. She told what it did once. They're going to only one. He cut her head off and he threw it. That's why it's got blood thrown when he threw her head into the air, and she became the grandmother moon. They got a honey on the stop. Get no one name. Say, go in. And you can see the blood there. That means because That's who controls the women on Earth. Earth. That's why women have the menstruation every month. Because she's the one that controls that through birth. It all goes back again to creation, see. Because that's a new way of creation again when you're born. That's just like the same thing. But it goes back to creation. We always go back to creation. Everything, it goes back to creation. Even in Longhouse ceremonies, we talk about creation again. All year round, it talks about creation. Now we talk about sapling. They call maple sapling. The right-handed twin. Maple sap. First year, you know. Sapling. But when we go further, more, then when we talk about the sun, the moon, the sun, the body of the grandmother, that became the sun, some say. So sometimes it's very confusing, as I would say, the old Mohawk story, what it's been told. I don't know if anybody knows about the old Mohawk story that's been done years ago, which I would like to do a tape on it. And they had done a manuscript years ago about Mohawk story. I read a bit about it, and it's quite interesting too. But as I say, every one of these creation myths, they seem to, you know, intertwine. No matter how you say it, it still means something. You know, you might think, you know, how come it's so many different versions? But only one thing is sometimes, I guess, the way it's passed on from generation to generation, it'll change a little. You know, the way somebody heard it, they may tell it a little different. Somebody else you tell it to, you'll tell it a little different again. So that's the way these stories get changed a little. But the main thing still means the same thing. You know? So they know, and in a whole, it's got floating really hot. You might wonder what this one is. And they are going to order some chatat, and I want to order so how you know some goyatis, some quego. Watch that given Rongo. He met this man. He all of a sudden he appeared. What we call the right-handed twin. He's always busy, going all over this island where his creation. Now and again he'll go and re-examine all the things that he has created. So he gonna be the owner. But causes na ho na ro na da. Pero hatari ki kanom ko ho ya kan. To no wa ia ko ni I'll be your protector. I'll be the protector. Ai ji wa ni sa ni ko ro da ungo te na ka ra te hon cha. So they need protection. Wa ha no ya ka ne ki kanom ko I ne. Ya ko ni ko ke sa sa ra ya ni. Ne ji yung hon cha ni. Na kweni ne yuka nore. Kahno ni. Ya te ko na ho da yung chagi. Ne. Yu na tawari na ho da ne wa honi gi ko ne. Ya te hani ko honi yu. It means that there was a man that showed up and he says, I have the power to help the one that's going to live on earth. So this man that appeared, he says, I know that your left-handed twin, he's always going against you. He's working on something the opposite. So he says, we will be the protectors. And that's the thunders. They call the thunder being. Okay, the right-handed twin, he said, Giwahi. Garihoyan Dakohake. Jet was a water Nigun, Nahodane. Nahodane here, here they got this. Oh, then they continue. You're not the one. Kunyare ko ni di na tawan is ko yung sa ta ni ko ni ko sa na ho ta ya ga na ho na wage we na da. So he will protect the man that will protect, he says, I have many others that will help me. My colleagues, that they will help me. We have the power. So all of a sudden he flies up into the air, and all of a sudden here is a big cloud. It started to thunder, lightning. And it was so powerful. Now he saw, and so whatever I cast onto earth, all these animals, you look after that. Means you will protect this earth and the people in it. All that will harm the people, you will be the one that's going to hold it down onto the earth. That's the reason why it's in it. So everything, that's why I was saying, everything goes back to culture, to creation, from the way it was made at that time. So we always go back to whatever we talk about, to creation all the time. That's the reason why when we appreciate, we show our gratitude to the Creator, that it goes back into creation. And that's the reason why we use turtle rattles when we sing the Great Feather Dance, because our earth is the holder of, and that's something to do with our ceremonies too. So this part here, there's a time came when you can notice that Hadui is there too. That means that the right-handed twin. The right-handed twin was always looking around what he had created, which would not spoil his creation. So he met this man, another being again, come up to him. He says, I will be the protector. So he showed him, he says, I have power too. So then the Creator says, I'd like to see what power you have. You see those mountains, those high cliffs? I can move that. So he ordered the mountains to move as they turned their backs against the mountain. It moved, a little bit. The medicine master was able to move it a little bit. So then he showed. He says, if an unknown being here, he says, I don't want anybody to disturb my creation. And he knows that too, the Hadui, that if he doesn't do what's right, he's going to destroy him, because that's what it is. He's trying to destroy all things because he knows there is his brothers working against him. So that's the reason why he begged him. He says, if you let me live. That was after the competition. He was saying that he was the maker of the world. But the Creator showed him too that he was not the maker, because when they faced their backs against the mountains, and the Creator, he gave a command to the mountains to come close to their backs. Because he was the Creator, It comes so quick with the roar of the mountains, everything moving, the rocks and everything, and Hadui got so excited he shook the rattle and so turned so quickly he struck his face against the mountain. That's why his face is distorted. He got in honey on him, but gone good on your saw. They got in honey G on a neck. Well, when you want to goodness, well, this one, don't destroy me. I will be also a protector for the people that's going to live. They got in honey, yeah, I will be protecting the people. So the reason it's like this is people use two ways, as I was mentioning. People can use Hadui for both good and bad. That's the reason why you wonder why he's with the wardy. Huma ya good for Hadui, kapwene hiat konda Hadui. To go on the city Kunradun was Gagwini Zeri Hundan Hadui, the Saponi Kunharan Gig. You can burn tobacco too and ask him for if somebody you don't like to go against that person, the Hadui. That's all evil, that's all work of evil. And that's the reason why he sort of fits in here. It isn't that he's evil altogether, but that he can be influenced by the people. So we're going to this one here. All the people who satisfies the wardy, because at night, that's the time. People come to life. It's the time when, because they say the evil, he controls the night and the day, the brightness of day. He's the one that controls the day. This one here, the creator. The wardy, he controls the night. That's the reason why people come pretty, we come to life too when night comes. That's why a lot of people will sit in a bar for hours and hours and hours, but right here, you'll sit here for a couple of hours, you'll be so tired. But if you listen to anything that's good, you only probably last for 1 hour right away. Oh, I'm getting tired, the guy talks too much, you know. But if you sat with somebody that talks a lot in a bar, you never get tired. You can sit there all night. That's the difference. See how powerful evil is? And that's the way kind of life we live today. So that's the reason why all the one that satisfies the war at night, these people are dancing at night. And this one here is the creator. These are the one who's giving thanks to the creator. So we live in two kinds of worlds. We favor the wardy. And he's really powerful. That's just what I just got through saying. It's how powerful. When you look at it yourself, you sort of balance the power that we live in today. It is true. And it's another funny thing too, because if you look at supposing if you start drinking beer, you could drink bottles and bottles and bottles after bottles. Trying to see if you can measure up, drink that much water too, as much as you drink beer. See if you can drink that much water, which will do you good, but it won't do you good. It's based on Higa, Gadati Kongri. Now, we're going to hire Hirori to get Nakshira. It's because he's got more power. He's got more power in things, but as I say, things don't last long. Whatever he does, it only lasts for so long. But anything that's good, this is one of the everlasting. We're going to hold and they look calm. They got a honey way going to one of one ski and then they saw no name. You got how it's in one series. We're going to tell them. Well, got a name, no one, I don't think on you. They want him on the so I had the Rio, you're going to there. They had a contest between his brother going back to creation again. His brother, they had a contest. They had a peach stone game. Nobody won. And they also had a lacrosse game. Nobody won. So, he was always blaming his brother because they say even his grandmother took his other brother's part. I says he was to blame that the mother died at birth. But he was always the one that was getting the blame, the good spirit. The one done husky and the flint. But he was the one that went the right way. But he's the one that went under the armpit. He's the one that killed the mother. But she always believed him. She always took his part, the flint. That's the reason why. So they had all these contests, and then it came a time. His grandmother, she made him mad because she was taking his part all the time. So time came then, and they had a battle. The flint. The flint, the right-handed twin, the deer antler. So they say, actually he didn't die, but he took his body, put him on the edge of the earth, the rim of the earth. So that's where he dwells. That's the reason why this is in a cave. But that means that's how much power he's got. As soon as you think about the left-handed twin, as I was saying a while ago, as soon as you think about him, already he's right there. That's the reason why he got all the answers. If your mother's telling you something, you got the answers right away, because he's the one right there telling you what to do. So it's not only children, but it's the same way with old people too, older people. Every one of us, every individual. And what it is, gone. They go to the whole Yakroli and see. Go to the whole no one is at the Yokar. And done what up to know that they can hear Roli. Only the skinny Gurayeri in the whole that need no getting control. And that's what happens. If you do everything what he says, everything will go well for a short time, only very short, and you can get into trouble. But he can also put you in confinement. If you've done a lot of different wrong things, you know, you think you were getting away with it, but there's a time going to come, it's going to catch up with you. He's going to put you in confinement, this guy here, because you've done everything what he wants you to do. He's just testing you, see how you're going to do with your life. After a while, you're going to end up in a jailhouse, maybe in prison for the rest of your life, because you followed the way what he wanted you to do. Now it's too late to think about it. That's what they call confinement. And there's nobody else can ever able to help you. It's only this one here. And that's why we have today individuals trying to help one another. As I was saying, we should help one another. That's the way the Creator wants us, is to help one another. If you see somebody off going a different direction, you should always talk to them and say, here, come back. It's up to them to listen. If they listen, you've gained some. And they got in the young guy, so they don't go home with it, they are no institution. That's why we have so many people who are mentally ill. Mine would be ill because we can help one another. For the white man, he's different. As soon as he sees somebody, not right away, put him in an institution. I don't want no part of you anymore. And that's why, because we can help one another. That's why we don't have that many people in institution, what we call insane. It's because everything is based on medicine, rituals, which you can help a person. The dead people, it's through the help of this. He didn't intend to create that. When you die, you're going to bother your mother, your brother, your sister, your dad. You're going to have feast. No, it's the work of evil. Because he's the one that's going to do it. You should do it. Make feast for your mother or your brother. That's what he's asking for. No, actually, it's this one that's asking for that. Now, that's why a lot of people wonder, how come do I have to make peace? I know people ask me different times, how come when we die, we're supposed to go to heaven, or we go to heaven or we go to hell? Do you think that the Punisher is going to let us go, or we went to hell and come back, says, go and see your mother, and your mother's got food for you to eat. Or if you were in heaven, you would never think about coming back. So what they tell us, they say heaven is so nice. If we can make it there. But that is the difference. Well, that's why we have that kind of a belief, is to help one another. And that's the reason why. You can lean on the person if you have friendship. We have a way of what we call friendship ritual. Whether it's a woman, a man, or a boy, the spirit will lean on another person.